She said that American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand.
Gio.
That guy Gazpacho.
Sports can take a lame gorilla, okay?
Advice, did you know that Arsenal died?
These got me buzzing.
Up the talkies. It's hard to up them anyway.
I'm not even gonna comment on that.
Welcome back to Footy with the Boys. Another episode with our guest host, Nick Tracy here. Didn't introduce him last time, so I'll introduce him this time.
For real.
Today, we will go through our awards ceremony for the end of the season, the 11 of the season, and then we'll get into the U.S. men's national team corner where we're going to break down the Copa America roster. Not official, but they're only going to cut one player to get to that Copa America roster. And then we will wrap up our lock of the week competition. But first, boys, some big news, including Chelsea Football Club. Pochettino and Chelsea Football Club have mutually agreed to part ways. Nick Tracy, are you in for a Man United Pochettino move from one shit club to another?
Sheesh.
You know, I wouldn't hate Pochettino at Man United. I think he's a good manager. Seems like he's a guy that players like. Don't know how much I believe on the mutual parting part of the end of the contract. I kind of think it might be some Todd Bowley antics. But yeah, bring him on over to Manchester. We could use him.
Yeah, Nick, Nico, what do you make out of this? Do you believe that Pochettino maybe was like, God damn it, this is a babysitting job, not a manager job that I want at the moment?
Yeah, I think it said something about like the people showed up to his board, the board meeting between him and the people on the board, the owners, and they were all just like showing him data of why he sucked. And so I think he's like, I'm fucking somehow. So I think Nick might be onto something. This might be more of a him decision that he wanted to leave. Yeah, I don't hate him going to Man U either. He's definitely better than Ten Hag and definitely not good enough to actually affect any change. So be fun to see.
Mike, it seems like Pochettino finally got some momentum at the end of the season where he's able to get them into a European slot. He's able to start stringing along some form with an extremely young team. Is this something that Chelsea should have pushed against to keep him to stay? Or do you think it's something that, you know what, they weren't performing for, 80% of the season, and that hot run of form at the end shouldn't keep him?
No, I think they definitely should factor that in. The fact that the team was so disjointed to start with, so many young names, really little experience, and then he was able to make a more cohesive team and actually achieve something towards the end of the season. If you look at it from a big picture, how much higher could you expect this Chelsea team to really finish in the league with the teams that are above them? I think they're all stronger sides. For Pochettino, maybe a good time for him to go because I think he got his stock back up a little bit. If you're another team looking to hire a coach, Pochettino probably doesn't look as bad as he would have if Chelsea was finishing in 11th. So maybe good for him. For Chelsea, I don't really know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, we'll see where their money bags lead them in their managerial pursuit of who knows. Maybe Jose Mourinho returns back to Chelsea. That would seem a very Chelsea move.
Third time's a charm, baby.
Todd Bowley. In other news, in Real Madrid, Toni Kroos has announced his retirement at the end of this season. Still has that Champions League final June 1st versus Borussia Dortmund. But we lose Toni Kroos here. Is this just a matter of time where Modric, Kroos, kind of that old guard is making their way out of Real Madrid as the Bellinghams, Camavingas, and Tchouaménis come into Real Madrid and they can kind of ride off into the sunset on a high?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We saw Casemiro leave a few years ago, and then Modric and Kroos's role has been, reduced a little bit this season. Kroos is still playing quite a bit. Thought maybe we get one more year out of him there, but maybe he just decided he's had enough and wants to end on a high note, being in the Champions League final. I could see him just being done. Period. Plays this game, plays the Euros with Germany, and then calls it a career.
Yep. And maybe Manchester United will be interested. We know how much they love
sure they
some
are.
old Real Madrid midfielders. How do you think about that one, Nick?
I
I mean,
believe
like
he
90
announced his
million.
retirement though.
He
Did
said
he?
he's
He
done
said
with
that
it.
he's going to play the
Yeah.
He said he's going to play the Champions League final and play the Euros. And I mean, hey, if he changes his mind,
Listen,
please do come to
Man U,
Manchester United. But I
they
think
love
I think he's
some
done.
non-running midfielders.
Oh yeah,
Could be an option.
Yeah, Ten Hag could play him at center
got
back.
Bruno to make up for the running.
Yeah, yeah, Bruno, the absolute workhorse there. Boys, some big squads dropped. Not just the U.S. men's national team. England dropped their preliminary roster for the Euros this summer, where they will be one of the favorites to win it. Them, France, are probably the top two in terms of talent that you would say on paper should go far and have a chance at winning it. But there are some big names missing in this one, Mike. We're missing out on Dominic Solanke up top, Marcus Rashford, the biggest maybe, and then in the back, they're also not including Fikayo Tomori. Once again, Gareth Southgate does not watch leagues that are not in England, it seems. Mike, what do you make of the exclusions here? Because obviously they have crazy amounts of talent in the squad and will still be a favorite no matter what, but some pretty big exclusions there, I would say.
Big exclusions for sure, but I think he kind of nailed it. He's usually too preferential, has his guys that he loves, brings them regardless of form. And he left some guys at home this time around. Jordan Henderson, who he always brings, Calvin Phillips, who he always brings, Marcus Rashford, who seems to be a guaranteed name in the squad, left at home. The only one I was concerned about, who I thought should have been in the roster, was Jadon Sancho, just based on the form he's had at Dortmund. You can't overlook that. He's not playing in England, but I mean, come on, man. Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane don't play in England. I guess they're big enough names where that doesn't matter. Overall, though, pretty damn good squad. Fikayo Tomori will never be in the England squad unless he comes home.
Yep. And do you think that spot for the attack for Jadon Sancho, that's Anthony Gordon being replaced there, you think?
Anthony Gordon, Jared Bowen, he really fell off the second half of the season. Started off really well,
James
but
Madison.
what is he going to do? I mean, what are these guys going to do for you in the squad? I really like the inclusion of Eberechi. Fantastic, super talented player. Gives you something that really no other player exactly has. So I get that one. Ivan Toney doesn't need to be there. I mean, you have a backup striker to Harry Kane and Ali Watkins. Ivan Toney's done nothing. So yeah, there could be a few other guys who could have made room for him.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, the 11s that you can make out of this squad should make them one of the favorites. Nick, Tracy, what do you see as their odds in actually winning the Euros this summer? Because they've become just kind of the it's coming home frauds where they get so far, they get so much hype, and then it doesn't happen. Is that what we see again here with this summer, or do you think they finally actually get across the finish line with an insane generation of players here?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most talented England squads I think I can remember seeing. Unless you go back to maybe like early 2000, like before 2010, 2010-ish. So if they're going to get it done, this should be the year or these next couple years. I don't know if they will. I'm not super confident in them. I still think France is the team to beat, strictly based off of their performance in big international tournaments. They just made it to the World Cup final 2 years ago. They still have all of those players on the squad. I also think there's some really good like Spanish squad and a good German squad this year. So I don't see England getting it done, but I think they'll make a deep run in the tournament, and time will tell.
Yeah, I think Portugal could also make some type of noise in this tournament as well.
Yeah.
Might depend on how much they do play Mr. Su, though, because I'm not sure if he is that best option. But it's a super sub. There's not many more clutch players you could have coming off the bench. Let us know what you guys think of the exclusions. Who should have been added? Who should be kicked out of the squad? What do you think their starting 11 will be in the comments below? Boys, let's move to some comments made about your club, Nick. Rodri came out talking about the mentality of Arsenal. What did you make of what he was saying here?
Listen, he
he just won a fourth Premier League title on the bounce, so you can't say too much. He's earned the right to say whatever he wants, but keep my team's name out your goddamn mouth before I walk up stage and slap the shit out of you. That is a ridiculous statement to make, especially when this is the same Man City team that registered one shot on target at the Emirates. That's the team you're talking about. If you hadn't heard, Rodri said that Arsenal lost the title when we did not try to win at the Etihad Stadium earlier in the season. He said right there we knew they didn't have the mentality. Which, by the way, the game at the Etihad and the game at the Emirates was the exact same game. Okay, it was both just tactical puzzle pieces trying to outwit each other, not making mistakes, all that stuff. Both teams played in the exact same style. Like the game was a carbon copy of each other, except that Arsenal won one and the other one was tied. Okay, either 0 points, 3 points, 4 points, 6 points, anything. Those any bounce of the ball, those games could have gone either way. To say that we weren't trying to win is just falling into like the Twitter narratives that he must be reading online. I don't think that's true at all. And like words carry a lot less weight when there's 115 charges behind them. So congratulations, we're not going anywhere. Your manager's looking like rumors might be gone after next season. You know, you're at the top. Enjoy it while you're at the top. You're allowed to say what you want while you're there. Arsenal fans keep receipts, so we'll see what happens.
Fortunately, keeping receipts on Man City is not the easiest task. You might be saving those receipts for a while here. It has been 4 straight years of him
Our
winning.
time will come. Our time will come.
I would say mentality would be one of the last things I would say that Arsenal lacked this year, because they did win out to give themselves the shot at winning it in that last week, when if it was truly a mentality issue, they would have some lapses in their play that you would see. I didn't see many lapses. It was really just
last year, totally fair to say that. This year, and again, that's like 3 hours into his celebrations after he's like been asked a bunch of questions and all that. I wouldn't put too much weight into his words, but just so everyone is on the same page, he is wrong.
Yeah, the alcohol was flowing in those celebrations. Seen Jack Grealish, Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, and Rodri coming out
Haaland's
the
is
club.
so funny.
Good guy. They were blasted.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, he might be able to score a lot of goals, but maybe can't take the shots off the field there. Boys, shall we get into our awards ceremony for our Premier League this season?
Let's do it.
Nick, let's start with attacker of the season. A lot of good options here, but who have you gone with to give your attacker of the season to?
I am absolutely shocked by both your choices, but me personally, I went with Cole Palmer. I think there are some worthy guys out there. Obviously, Haaland with the goals, Foden who had a good year, Saka who had a good year. But you can't deny the numbers. I know a lot of them were penalties. His game grew a lot throughout the year. I think I didn't expect him to have the same amount of like vision and just overall influence on this team from his role that he had. So when we're talking about straight numbers, straight attacker, what's the most important thing as an attacker? Goal contributions. He's got the most of them, so I gave him the attacker of the season.
Mike, do you agree? Who did you choose as your attacker of the season?
Went with Ollie Watkins, the villain. Yeah, there's a lot of names who are deserving of mentions. Haaland for sure, Palmer, Foden, Saka, but there was no one super clear, I thought, of everyone else. It was Haaland last year because he scored just that many goals. Ollie Watkins, what he did for an Aston Villa side, to get him in their first Champions League position, and however long the competition's been alive, he did it all. He was playmaker, goal scorer, talisman. I mean, it was really phenomenal. And I think the fact that he played for a smaller club gives me something to latch onto. It feels more monumental. It feels more historic to me than some of these guys in bigger teams where their impact is huge, but not the same.
This isn't a Leicester we're talking about. It's still Aston Villa. That is a very big club.
Let me have my romance in football, Nick.
For my attack of the season, I also went with Ollie Watkins of Aston
This is
Villa.
ridiculous.
I
That's
was honestly thinking between Ollie Watkins or Holland, but I do feel that Holland had some cold stretches, and a lot of his play is that he's playing for a super team, Man City, that has all this crazy amount of talent around him, that has all the possession, has all the chances. Cole Palmer, to me, he was very good, and I think he's proven that, but so many of his goals were penalties that I just think, just because he's a penalty taker, I don't want to say that he is the best attacker off of that. And Ollie Watkins, he's bringing an Aston Villa side that, yes, they're still a bigger side, but they're not the biggest side, and they're making Champions League, which is far above what you would expect for Aston Villa. So I'm going Ollie Watkins.
That's a horrible graphic, Palmer.
5 goals.
That is not up.
First month or what?
Listen, there was a lot of options this year up front, and the two of you picked the worst option. How are you going Ollie Watkins as
No
the
way.
main man of the? I think that's a pretty ludicrous take, in my opinion.
Don't know ball, Nick. Two of us are picking it.
Okay.
You chose Cole Palmer.
Just watch
I
him. He's
did
going to
choose
start
Cole
over
Palmer.
Harry Kane at the Euros, Nick, and then we'll be vindicated.
Look at
Is he-
this. I sent this in Discord. I don't know if you saw it, but he had the 24th most big chances created, 45th most chances created, and 53rd most expected assists. Ollie Watkins did this year. Come on. What are we doing? It's still cool that he got playmaker of the season, but numbers might be a little inflated.
Okay, so he's better at what he's doing. He's not as wasteful with all these big chances
When you-
created. He's not wasteful with everything else.
He
When you
outperforms the
look at it, the
statistics,
numbers
dude.
being inflated. You can't inflate assists. Assists are the final number. I mean, the big chances created can be a little inflated, I think. But
Okay, maybe
is an
inflated was the wrong word. Maybe the assist total doesn't tell the whole story. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Yeah, but if the chances he are creating are just leading to assists rather than just, oh, it's just a chance, I prefer that. I prefer the actual numbers coming out than, oh, chances. He's so good at big chances created, but he's not actually getting assists.
I don't think he was threading through balls, bro. I think he got some sideways passes and some good goals scored. I think that's what those numbers are saying more than anything.
All right. Well, you guys will have to let us know what you guys think about our attacker of the season. We'll move into the midfielder of the season, and I will start this one off. I thought it was Declan Rice for Arsenal. A versatile season for him. Was able to play the 6 and the 8 very effectively. Came up with a lot of massive goals, that late goals from a low block, not a low block, but deep lying kind of position. Still coming up with massive goals, clutch tackles, really controlling that midfield for Arsenal, which allowed them to have such an amazing season. So I went with Declan Rice here over, a shout of a Rodri. Mike, what did you go with here?
Yeah, dude, we're playing tag team here. I also went with Dex Rice. Tight between him and Rodri. You'll hear Rodri's name later for me. But I just thought he was so phenomenal. Comes into that Arsenal team, which is a really good team, and takes over, makes it his own. Really didn't seem like he had an adjustment period to me. I kind of thought it was just seamless. He bossed it. He was everywhere on the field. His attacking contribution was super surprising. I didn't know how much he had in that aspect of the game. And I didn't really see a time in the season where he dipped or disappeared. I thought he was huge all year long. So big up the Dex.
Pick up the Dex. And Nick, as a Gunner fan, I'm sure that you're agreeing with us, right?
I'm gonna have to disagree on this one. I love me some Declan Rice. I think Mike said a lot of great things. He, a much better ball progressor than people give him credit for. Something I'm sure West Ham fans knew, but now the rest of the world kind of understands as well. Adaptable, flexible, has a sense for the moment. A wonderful defender, has bite in his tackle, has a burst that's very underrated in the midfield. I went with Rodri. I think that Rice is the better player than Rodri, if I'm being honest. But I do think that Rodri is absolutely the main man in the midfield. And if I'm being honest, especially in the back half of the season, I thought Odegaard outperformed Declan Rice. So I honestly I was thinking more of Odegaard than Odegaard and Rodri between those three. But Rodri he's not the best defender, not the same defender that Declan is, but in that team you don't have to be. So I think that his ability to control games, his ability to score huge goals, especially in big moments and from outside of the box, is something that we haven't seen as much of from Rice, and something that I think you know Rodri has. He's just the guy. He's the standard right now. They won the league, I think, in large part because they have him in his side. So Rodri is my midfielder of the season.
Wow, the man that just disrespected Arsenal, Nick. That is some type of
I didn't say he's
statement
not a
there.
clown. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, we'll move into the defender of the season, and Mike, we'll start with you this time. Who did you have as your defender of the season?
Big Verge Van Dyke. I brought him back.
Casual take.
Not a casual take at all. Dude's coming off
Casual take.
a pretty poor season for his standards, comes back, and it's the Verge of old. He was great this year. There was a lot of great center backs, Gabriel and Saliba, obviously. But what Van Dijk did for Liverpool and the amount of partnerships he had this season, I mean, fantastic. He played next to Jarrell Quansah, super young and experienced academy kid for a lot of the season. Konate was in and out of the team, per usual, with knocks and injuries and such. His partner in crime, Joel Matip, sidelined all season. Connor Bradley occupying that right back for a lot of the season. Joe Gomez, Tsimikas, Robertson on the left side. I mean, no consistency in the back line for Liverpool except for Virgil van Dijk, who was always there. Absolute leader for them all season. Didn't win as much as they could have, but no part of that is on Virgil. I thought he was immense. He scored clutch goals, and he really was just as good as I've seen him be.
What clutch goals did he score?
Well, it looks like he
had a
scored this
header-
goal with his
scored
cock,
like
so
Maybe it was in the Carabao Cup final, or maybe it was Europa League. I can't remember. One I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I do remember some type of late header there. I think Van Dijk is a good shout. He's obviously just insanely good and played more up to his standards this season. Nick, I went with another gunner here. I went with Gabriel. I think both him and Saliba made an insanely great partnership there in the back for the Gunners this season. But I gave Gabriel the nod. I can't really think of many times that he did not perform well. He was just an insanely consistent, well-defended back line there for Arsenal, and Gabriel, that peak performer for them. Nick, did you agree with here? Do you go with the gunner this time?
Yeah, absolutely. Gabriel was incredibly consistent throughout the entire season. If you remember, actually, at the very start of the season, the first 2 or 3 games, he didn't play. And Hardy was playing it right back, and Saliba left center back. It got kind of weird. But since he came into the side after those first couple of weeks, he's been arguably our most consistent performer outside of Ben White, maybe, but just at a higher level and asked to do more defensively than Ben White, in my opinion. So led the best defense in the league. Was the best defender in that back line. I think he was the best defender in the Prem. I think you put Saliba with the back half of the season that he had. I think you put him over Van Dijk too. So I'm not sold on the Van Dijk take, and I'm very much agreeing with Flags there. I think Gabriel deserves defender of the season. I think he was the best one. And I don't think anyone can argue that they definitely formed the best partnership there. So I'm going Gabriel with my defender of the season.
All right, defenders. It was a good season for a lot of different defenders, especially those at Arsenal, excluding Nick's arch rival Zinchenko. We'll move to the keeper of the season, and boys, we have all chosen the exact same one. It is our toffee, Mr. Jordan Pickford. Mike, run us through the beauty that is Jordan Pickford.
Oh man, short arms, but a long legacy and a long-lasting impact on Everton. I mean, dude was huge all freaking season. It was a tough season, but the outstanding performer like he always is. Led the back line, commanded, made huge saves. I mean, you can look at stats if you want to. The expected goals that he was supposed to concede, how much he overperformed that, insane, especially in the back half of the season. It seemed like nothing could go past him. Immense. He's a leader. He's a ball player. I mean, people don't credit that part of his game as much as they should. He takes a lot of free kicks for Everton, even up to half field, and he's pretty damn dynamite with his accuracy. We're not a keep it on the ground, move the ball around club, but Pickford can do it if he wants to. All the props in the world to him.
Yeah, especially down the stretch, he was just kind of the reason Everton would be in some games. They wouldn't have to fall behind early. They wouldn't let leads slip. He was massive for them to keep their safety and keep their safety by a good margin towards the end of the season.
Damn right.
Finally, that leaves us with our player of the season. And Michael, go straight back to you. Who have you chosen as your player of the season?
Yeah, you guys might flame me for this. I gave Rice midfield of the season, but I'm giving Rodri player of the season because I can do whatever the hell they want.
Are both midfielders.
It's my award, and I wanted to get Rice some props. Rodri player of the season for sure. I mean, the team wins it, has to have the player of the season most of the time, and Rodri is the invincible man. When he plays, they don't lose. That's just facts. He keeps that team ticking. He is the epitome of Mad City. He's the epitome of what Pep Guardiola wants to do. He does it all. And this year he scored quite a bit of goals to go with everything else he does, which, only makes him better. Nick, take it away.
Yeah, bro. I mean, what are you doing? You have Rice as your midfielder of the season and then tossing Rodri as the player of the season. I think that inherently says Rodri had a better season. Either way, though, at least you got the second award right because it has to be Rodri. He is the main man, title-winning side. A side that hadn't lost a game in like the last 20-something games of the season, like 27, 28. It was crazy. They didn't lose a game in that time stretch. Even that Arsenal win at the Emirates, if we remember, Saka didn't play, but neither did Rodri, and that of course changes a lot. So yeah, I think he is by far their most important player. I think they look much different, much more assured when he's in there. With the talent surrounding him, like it ends up being that they're going to score a lot of goals. But he is really the guy who makes everything tick, and he's just the guy. He's their best player. So at least this year, I went with Rodri as well for my player of the season. You will never believe who Flags chose as his player of the season.
Listen.
Let's hear this.
The smart choice would be Rodri because he's not lost in a billion years, and that's
so you
a
went
great
with the
choice.
dumb choice.
And then you might say Foden or Haaland because they were also on that title-winning squad.
James
But I said
Tarkowski.
no. There's too many charges there. If Everton gets punished, so do they. So they don't get onto my ballot. And after that, I was impressed by Ollie Watkins, who was my player of the season, the star player for Aston Villa, led them to Champions League. He was immense for them, and I like the smaller club getting up to the Champions League. That's a massive accomplishment.
Smaller club,
much larger than getting a fourth straight title just because you're breaking all the financial rules. So I went away from Man City. I went to Ollie Watkins. A good shout here. Maybe not the correct shout, but god damn it, he deserves it.
he does it. Nick, of all of our awards, give me one highlight, one low light, one you like a lot, one you strongly disagree with, and you can't choose Flags as Ollie Watkins player of the season.
Because
I
we
can't
know
choose
that would be
I
your
strongly
strong
disagree with.
agree.
All right.
Too obvious.
All right. Ignoring Flag's pick for Ollie Watkins, I'll say you and Mike, I definitely agree with Rodri for player of the season. He's the anchor of that
What do
Man
you
City
mean
team.
avoiding it? You just said the other two options and said you agree.
No. Instead of saying I strongly disagree with your take, I'm saying I agree with their take, and then I'll do a different one I disagree with. I strongly agree with their take. It's Rodri for player of the season, and then one I didn't like. I mean, Ollie Watkins for player of the season, but other than that, I would say midfielder of the season. Put Deck, Rodri. I don't know. All the other ones were pretty reasonable picks, I think, other than Ollie Watkins for player of the season. I didn't mind any other one super bad. I like Cole Palmer for attacker of the season. I like Ollie Watkins for attacker of the season. I don't hate any of the other ones.
Nick, I think your only shout to get a Red Devil in this award season would have been Onana. You like Pickford over Onana?
Yes, I think Onana did well for the team that he was in, but he made a couple big mistakes throughout the season, which he didn't get punished for maybe as much as he should have. But yeah, I'm weighing the Champions League too much because he was dreadful in the Champions League for the most part, and then in the Premier League he actually has good stats, but he's not the player, he's not the goalkeeper of the season, that's for sure. I think giving that to Jordan Pickford is very fair.
Do you think Ten Hag to manage all these awards, guys? Manager of the season, perhaps?
Manager of the season. Oh, we forgot about that. It is because it's just so obviously Ten Hag.
Sean Dyche. Can't even joke. It's Sean Dyche.
I don't hate Sean Dyche, if I'm being honest. If I'm being completely honest.
Shall we get into a team of the season here? We can kind of break down through this, throwing in our
Let's go.
Let's craft
our different position groups and filling out a full 11 here.
I'm ready to
I
fight.
mean, our manager has to be Pep, right?
No, I disagree.
Get the fuck out
And
of
I
here.
am.
4 straight
It
titles.
should not be Pep.
Not it.
It's got to be Jurgen Klopp because he's leaving.
Am I adding a manager?
Pep had the most to
I have
work
to
with.
fucking add a
I
thing.
think Unai Emery then. If it's not going to be Pep.
Unai Emery. Unai Emery won like one of his final 5 games. Just Tottenham sucks ass.
He got Champions League.
Horrible. Because
With
Tottenham
Aston
sucks
Villa.
ass. Both of them just tried to shit down their pants harder, and Tottenham ended up having diarrhea. Like, that's how the end of the season went for those two teams. God.
So what do you think? Who's the manager of the season?
Andoni Iraola.
I think you give it to Arteta, or I think you give it to Dyche.
I'll
All
ride
right,
with
let's
either
give
one
it
of
to
those
Dyche
guys.
then.
Let's give it to Dyche.
All right.
All right, Arteta it is. Got it.
In net, I'd imagine since we all chose Pickford as our keep of the season, we are all good with Pickford in net.
Matty Turner.
Ethan Horvath.
I'll go with his feet.
Yep. All right, so we got Pickford in
Is Nick
net.
Tracy in on this one or no? We bench him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get all
Jordan
opinions
Pickford's
here.
good.
Who am I putting here?
All right, Flags nominated goalie. We'll go Swick next. Nick Tracy. Let's go pick a position and nominate a player.
I mean, I'm guessing we're starting from the back. Yeah, just build up the team. So,
Yep.
Sure.
Center back, Virgil van Dijk.
Oh my God.
Is one of the center backs.
Okay, who did we put for goal?
I don't want.
No.
I mean, you could put both of the Arsenal guys as a pairing. As the best
Palmer,
defensive pairing,
Pickford
but I
is
think
our
Virg
keeper.
deserves
Pickford.
one of the spots.
Yeah,
Van Dijk
I'd
doesn't
ride with
deserve a
Virg.
spot.
I think he does.
I'd say Van Dijk. Let's put him in there.
You guys are just talking about name recognition. He did not
No,
have
not
the
at
year
all.
that all of you are
He's
saying.
How do you spell his name?
I get it. Incredible.
He did not have the year that all you're saying.
Dude, let
Even
me
if he
paint you a
had a
picture,
good
Nick.
season, he did not have the season that either Saliba or Gabriel did. Both of them outperformed him.
Oh my God, I
All right,
spelled his
so
name
the
right.
better
That's
Gabriel,
crazy.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right.
But
other
in a
center
better
back would
team,
be
not
Gabriel.
played with injuries, with an actual center defensive mid. I mean, Van Dijk's playing with no defensive mid, no coverage, and a bunch of has-beens or newbies on the block in the center back or in the defensive line with him. Like with the
Van
context
Dijk
of his
captained the team that choked down the end of the season. That doesn't matter?
No.
It
Not
wasn't
when
his
you look
fault.
at the context of it. No.
111.
How does that not matter? What?
They won a
You keep
trophy.
talking about this- You keep talking about like an academic, like an academy product play next to him. Okay, can we once again keep
let's
up to date with the
trophies.
standards? He's an England international now. Like, let's not just act like Kwanzaa
I don't
is a
think you can
nobody that they
immediately
picked
say
up
he's
off the
an-
street.
He also had some clear leading to a goal mistakes this season.
So
where
did
you're like,
Van Dijk.
oh, that guy's an academy graduate.
Like, what?
All
Are you
right, so
talking about?
Yeah, I mean,
Nick, Van Dijk has been cemented in. Gabriel,
That is
who you
not
want for the other one?
cemented. This is such crap.
It is
The
3-1.
best defense in the league and our
3-1, so it is
two like
cemented.
giant players in the center of the park. Both of them have to be in there.
Nick, 3 out of 4 saying we're good with Van Dijk, so we're
I'm good with a
moving
3
forward.
back.
This is why
Three back.
I'm good. Listen,
everyone.
Three back.
I'd be fine with 0
I'd-
outside
I'd
backs
do a
and
3
just
back.
go with 3 center backs.
There wasn't a fullback who really
Yeah.
amazed me this year.
Yeah,
White.
I would say Ben White's like the one guy you can
Ben White
put.
was
but He's
good.
not amazing. He's Ben White.
This is
No. Why are you typing
Ben
in
White
that
literally
now?
had a better season than Van Dijk.
Gabriel.
That is so bullshit.
He had,
No, it's
he had a
not.
better season for Ben White standards than Van Dijk did for Van Dijk standards, maybe.
This is actually that's not a horrible take, but still, we're not putting Benny Blanco. Don't get
Get
Palmer up
Benny's
this
back.
time.
Gabriel in there. Put in
If you're
I
doing
Gabriel.
think
a
we
three
go
back,
to a
and then
3-back and we
defeated
put
the-
Gabriel and
Alright.
Saliba in.
You
with
guys
Van
need
Dijk.
to decide
Gabriel's
what
in
you
the-
want.
Fine with that.
3 in the back.
I'm fine with
We'll
that.
move another one to the midfield.
Slide a player
I
in
think
the
that
Or
helps
put
with Gabriel.
or no, just put Gabriel at left back and then put Ben White at right back.
No, we're not.
No.
No.
No. We'll
Let's
do
do
the
a
3 best
3-back at that point.
defenders.
Gabriel,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ,
Marcus
boys.
Palmer,
You
and then
guys are making
Even
this
though
way
Benny go
fucking
without
harder than it has to
We're
be.
going with Saliba.
Where do you want this? Over here? Over here?
Just
Throw it
change
anywhere in the
Ben
center.
White to Saliba.
Yeah, Benny Blanco to Saliba.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, dude. This
Perfect.
is total football.
All right,
And quadruple pivot.
and then Rodri
Blast
as
away.
our lowest defensive mid. Yeah,
I mean, Rodri's got
What
to
are
be
we
unanimous.
playing? A 3-4-3? Is that what we're doing?
I like
yeah.
the 3-4-3.
Seems like it.
All right, let's go 3-4-3. I think you go Rodri, Rice, Odegaard, and Foden.
Yeah.
Let's think here.
Where's Cole
Rodri and
Palmer
Rice
fit
for
in there,
sure. Let's start with Rice. I think Rice has to be in the
though?
squad.
Rice, yeah, Rice. I think is
Yeah.
in there.
I don't hate Odegaard in there.
Odegaard, I think, outperformed Rice. I think you guys are like you have no idea how hard he carried us in the from January on.
Are these the
From
right
July on.
spots?
Super good. Let's see here.
It's good, yeah.
Where do we want to go next? We don't necessarily have to progress through the midfield
Let's
right
go.
now.
Let's go to the number 9. That's Holland. Yeah.
Over your player of the
Well, your
season,
player-
Watkins.
your player-
No, I'm saying we're
Yeah,
putting
it's
Ollie
not
Watkins out
fucking
wide.
idea.
We're putting Ollie Watkins out
Are
wide.
you abandoning your
Putting out
boy?
wide.
This is my
putting
favorite
Ali out
thing that's
wide?
happened.
Yeah, we're playing him a little bit wider. Ahaj, you right?
No,
That's
we're
cool.
not.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, I think if you're doing wingers, you do. I mean, Saka's a right wing.
Stop typing, Palmer. Nothing's been decided.
Just put
And
Saka and Palmer. Saka and Palmer on the wings. Bottom in the
that's
midfield.
fine.
I don't want Cole Palmer in my team.
Why?
You don't want Cole
I think
Palmer
Phil
in the
Foden
team
over
at
him.
all?
Phil Foden's in the midfield.
I'm fine with
Okay.
putting Phil Foden at 10 right now.
Yeah.
Phil Foden at 10.
Or
We can.
or if you
agree on
want if you want Palmer at the 10, do that, and then Foden at the wing. I don't care, but
Phil
those
Foden
three
for sure.
that.
guys,
Phil Foden at the 10.
those three guys had incredible years. Saka, Foden, and Palmer. They all deserve to be in here.
You're putting You're putting Ollie Watkins over Palmer? Flags?
Yep.
Is that what you're trying
Or
to
we could put Ollie Watkins, or not Ollie Watkins, Cole Palmer as player 8.
Guys, I appreciate the shout, but I really don't think I can match up against these teams.
Yep. I think Odegaard
I
needs to
believe
be in
you
this
said
team.
the
the more I
attacker of
look
the
at it.
season was Cole Palmer, not Odegaard, though. So
Yeah, attacker in midfield, you
midfielder.
dumbass.
We'll put player 8.
Listen,
Yeah, I
Martin
think Odegaard deserves that.
Yep.
Like
Palmer,
I
are you
understand
there?
wanting to put some variety in
What do
there.
you, what do you
but
want? You guys keep
these
throwing
are the
out
best
random
players,
names.
and most of them are from Arsenal and Man City. It just makes sense.
Yeah,
how it
I mean that's how it should be.
What am I
Yes.
putting?
all right, so
The
Odegaard
only
right there.
the
in the
only
mid.
guy who I think outside of those two teams clearly show that they were like of the highest class of player
Is that
in the
right?
Prem this year was Cole Palmer, based purely on output. Like numbers at a certain point just don't lie.
Yeah.
It's 2
He also
Yeah.
created everything for Chelsea.
He was their only player. Nicholas Jackson missed 40 goals. he could have had 40 goals
Yeah.
this year.
Overrated
Listen.
player.
Nicholas Jackson. No,
Better
he's
player
not.
than people
He
give him
has
credit
the
for.
You're the
Nicholas
one
Jackson
not
has
giving
the
him
second.
credit.
Nicholas Jackson has the second
just honest.
worst expected goals to goals ratio in the entire league, and he still scores.
You know who's
40
number
goals.
one?
What was it since he shaved his head?
Number one's Big Dom,
He was
baby.
supposed-
Come on, Big Dom.
No, it's not. I don't know. I just looked at it.
All right,
It
so
changed at
Saka
the end of the
on the
season.
right wing. Yes, we're
Yeah,
all
Saka
good.
He
on the
also scored
right.
21
That one
goals.
seems obvious. So player 7, Saka,
Fikayo
easy
Saka.
choice.
Yep.
And then
Okay.
Ollie
Player
Watkins
11
on the
and,
left.
and James Madison. Nick,
It's Madison. I can't believe Matters got into the England squad. That was crazy.
I don't think that's at all crazy.
I think we put Cole Palmer
He's-
there at
Yeah,
11.
that's reasonable.
I think he needs to
All
be.
right,
I think we all
pretty
agree.
good.
5 months.
Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins. Yeah,
No.
Erling.
Ollie
I'd put-
Watkins is
I'd put
Two of our
I think the three names who have an argument here, it's not that much an argument, but it's Ollie Watkins, Erling Haaland, and Alexander Isak.
Alexander Isak is not an argument with those guys.
I don't
He's
think
great
Isak
this year,
is
but...
really in that.
I mean, not to be that guy.
All out.
Don't you
but
like
not the whole
no,
season?
Isak's incredible, but he's not. He shouldn't be in the squad.
Isak
over
had like a
guys.
10-game stretch where he was unplayable, but that wasn't team of the season worthy.
What do we want from our striker?
Didn't Haaland score like 27 goals?
Scorer, or do we want a little bit more play?
Erling Haaland missed too many big chances for me. I give it to Ollie Watkins. Missed chances in the final game of the season too.
Listen, if you want to give it to Ollie, I don't mind, but that means we only have Rodri and Phil Foden from Man City.
Good.
I don't know if that's correct.
I feel like Bernardo Silva should have a shout.
At striker?
So.
Not at striker.
Where?
No.
Over who?
Who's he kicking out of this team? Who's he kicking out of this team?
He could take out
Odegaard.
Odegaard was better. He's had a better season.
That's what I'm saying. There's nobody you could take out.
The only guy you could say is Palmer if you want to do the penalty argument, but I just don't think that argument stands anymore.
All right, we'll take Ollie Watkins. We'll ride with it.
All right, Ollie Watkins.
All right.
Seriously? Where we landed?
Okay. Mike was on Ollie Watkins the entire time. He's like, all right, you convinced me. It's Ollie Watkins.
All right, I convinced myself.
I like this team.
We are going to get torn apart. Twitter is going to
fix that midfield before we screenshot this.
Oh my goodness.
What is going on with that formation?
No,
bro, he's a floating mid deck.
Oh my god, I've been muted.
Do a diamond, Palmer.
Twitter is going to tear us apart for this.
That's what I'm saying. Foden at the 10, Rodri at the base, Rice on the left, Odegaard on the right.
Twitter doesn't know fucking ball, dude. Twitter has fucking Destiny Adogi in all their fucking starting lineups. Those retards.
All right.
Excuse me for chopping.
He's good when he played. He's very good when he played.
All right.
When there's no good left backs in the season, don't put a left back in the team. That's how you do it.
Jedi Robinson would be a good fit. Anyways,
shout out Jedi.
Yeah. Moving to our team of the season in net, we have Jordan Pickford of Everton. Then we have two Arsenal Gunners in the back with Gabriel and William Saliba, centered by Virgil van Dijk, the big Dutchman. In front of him is Rodri, the player of the season, some would say. In front of him are Declan Rice, Odegaard, and Phil Foden leading up our midfield. Before we get to the attack of Cole Palmer, Ollie Watkins, some would say also a player of the season, and Bukayo Saka, Mr. Limpy
Very
Boy.
few would say.
What a team we've created here. We have players from all sorts of teams. Both.
I think this is too far off.
No,
you know what?
It's too crazy.
I think it's really good. And when you said there's only two Man City players in the lineup, I think that's actually pretty legit because they rotate that squad so much. And these are the two mainstays of that team, aside from Haaland when he's available and De Bruyne. But he didn't have that season this year, so I think this is well done.
Yeah, I mean, even Haaland, when available, was sat on the bench a lot and came on as a sub.
We should put. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he scored 27 goals.
Yeah.
Didn't have the same assist numbers as Ollie Watkins.
I think that
Emil Heskey would score 27 goals for Man City, boys. Come on.
Let's take out all Man City players. They don't have any fans on Twitter, so I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. All right, let's put in Chris Richards, Jedi Robinson, and Tim Ream as our three defenders, and then I think we're set.
And Matty T in goal.
And Matty
if we put Ben Brereton Diaz in this team, we could capitalize on the Sheffield fans. They'd love us forever.
To be the only positive of their season so far.
Let's just have Chris Wilder manage it then.
He'd make this team go down somehow.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking of managers, let's get into the U.S. men's national team corner. Let's get into the U.S. roster that was released on Monday for the training camp roster, essentially AKA the Copa America roster with one extra player. Boys, some surprises here. Sean Johnson was included with the goalkeepers. You're not really going to see that many crazy reactions to a third goalkeeper. But then we see a name on there, a dominant player. If you were talking about basketball, when it comes to defending, even in the MLS, dominant is the last word you might say. It is Shaq Moore being on this roster. We have then in the midfield, Timmy Tillman has joined from LAFC. A very interesting inclusion there. And then up top, there is no debate on the striker currently. There is all 4 of our strikers in that forward pool. Greg Berhalter did say that he sees Haji Wright being able to play that winger role a little bit more. Boys, is the addition of Shaq Moore a surprise? Is anything to be upset about? Or is it quite simply Serginho Dest is out and our outside back positions have zero depth, even if we're choosing the wrong zero depth in terms of Shaq Moore? Mike, what do you think?
Dude, we can do better than Shaq Moore. I mean, get creative. Don't bring him. Bring a better player and suffer and don't have another defender. Or bring somebody in the MLS who's playing better. Bring DeJuan Jones. Bring Julian Gressel, who's played outside back for Inter Miami.
Oh, wait.
I would
Those
say
are better
Julian
players
Gressel.
than Shaq Moore. I'm not saying
we're not
John
saying bring
Bolton.
Julian Gressel.
Yeah.
We're
Is
not
Julian
John
Gressel
Bolton.
better player than Shaq Moore? 100%.
Are we sure?
1,000%. Yes, dude.
I don't know.
But I mean, that's a clown pick. Is it surprising? Not really. It's Greg Berhalter, and he brings always some goofball with him to every tournament he goes to. Happens to be Shaq Moore this time around. Timmy Tillman's a really bad one. I think that's the worst one with the amount of
That was way
players
worse.
He's
who
not
could
making
be
it
in the
past this
team.
camp, brother. He's out
I
of
don't care. You should be in the camp.
He's that extra player. I will say that we are missing a chance to get Leonard Maloney in camp. I think if you're talking snubs, that would be maybe the one choices. He started just about every game in the Bundesliga this season. And Greg Berhalter just, let's let LAFC 8 that isn't necessarily in any type of good form, I would say, just a so-so MLS player, but that is what Shaq Moore is as well. So I see Timmy Tillman getting knocked off when they have to knock off the one player to get it down to 26 here, Nick. Is Shaq Moore just kind of coasting along just because there are no other real right back options that Greg Berhalter obviously likes him, brought him to the World Cup, played him in the World Cup. He was terrible, but he obviously likes Shaq Moore. Is it just he's coasting by because he's kind of just there? Availability?
Yeah, I mean, they need someone, so they grabbed him. Is Shaq Moore good at basketball? Was that the comment you made earlier? Am I?
No, Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal, ever heard of
His
him?
name is Shaq.
Come on, Chuck.
Okay, but I don't know. I get the connection there, but relax. Yeah, no, I mean, he's not going to get cut. He's going to be there. They're going to cut Timmy. Timmy's horrible. He's really just not a good player. I wonder if it's like Malik's birthday or something during the camp. They just needed Timmy there to like organize a secret dinner, you know? So I don't know what's going on, but the roster I think is fairly standard. There's not a ton of right back options. Sure, you could say DeJuan Jones, but we get on Berhalter for a lot. Let's save our criticism for some of the bigger moments that are surely coming this summer instead of nitpicking the backup right back.
And Nick, other Nick here, Greg Berhalter came out with a quote when he was asked about his right back options. He said, "Yeah, I mean, obviously we lost Serginho Dest. We still have options like Tim Weah, Weston McKennie, and Yunus Musa,
Hell yeah, bro.
along with Joe Scally." So he is, if you're saying 2 different midfielders and a winger can play right back, is Shaq Moore truly just, fuck it, if everything else isn't working and we need a right back? I mean, Weston McKennie and Yunus Musa at right back would be quite a move in a Copa America match. Is that just Greg Berhalter yapping, or do you think he actually would do that?
I mean, there's some history behind that. This season, you saw Yunus Musa played a couple games at wingback for AC Milan when they had some injuries. Calabria was out. Definitely not his best position. He's by far better in the midfield, and I think he's a player that should start in the midfield for the U.S. or at least have some minutes in the midfield at his best position. He's good enough to make an impact there. Timmy Weah also has played wingback for Juventus this season a little bit. Also not his preferred position. I don't think we have such great squad depth at winger or at center mid that these guys should necessarily be pushed back to right back if we need to. I guess I might take either of them over Shaq Moore, but Weston McKennie at right back, I don't understand at all. I mean, he's clearly an anchor in the midfield for the United States, so that would be insane to put him at right back. I don't know who's sliding into midfield to replace him, but I would rather see these guys play their actual positions in the camp. And if you get to the Copa America and it's between them and Shaq Moore for them to get minutes, maybe. I don't know. Shaq Moore was abysmal in the World Cup, and I don't really want to see him starting in a big game for the U.S. again, but hopefully it doesn't get to that and we don't have to rely on a backup right back.
Really quickly,
Shaq Moore go up against like Vinicius, it's over.
Yeah, that's
I'm
game
turning
over.
on the TV.
Really quickly, are we just not considering Tyler Adams at right back? Hasn't he played there like pretty extensively throughout his career? Isn't he like? Doesn't that help
Only
solve
really
some
in
of that
his
midfield
youth,
depth problems?
But Tyler Adams has had a lot of tweaks to his back recently, and I don't know how ready he would be in a physical right back position. I don't know if he's going to be able to play that much in this Copa America. I think it's going to be interesting because with Bournemouth, he got back, played one game for them, and then has had back injuries since. I just don't think you can rely on him. I think he's a bit of a wild card to actually play him as something you need to rely on to play a full 90, and I don't think you want to be swapping out right backs too often.
We're
Weren't
dissing
you
Joe
talking
Scally
about-
heavy, by the way. I mean,
Yeah,
Shaq
Joe
Moore's not
Scally-
Joe Scally's
in
the
the
starter.
conversation. Joe Scally should have the position down. Yeah, he had a shit cup or whatever, the Nations Cup,
League.
the pretend tournament that I love that we win all the time. But he should still have a real shout. He should get a look in these friendlies in camp. And then if it's not working, then you adjust. But that should be the guy.
Yeah, it should be Joe Scally. I just think the possibility of Shaq Moore getting minutes is
He's not
like,
going to get it.
Where's
jump
DeAndre
scare.
Yedlin? Bring him back.
Let's
Wait.
not.
Where is he now?
Back.
Is that Cincinnati?
Cincy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, Joe Scally, if he is going to have a chance to lock it down, I know we said this about Nations League, he really does need to do well here because he has been giving the chances like a Nations League to make some bit of a claim on it. Obviously now Serginho Dest is going to be out for a while, so he has some time to make a claim to that spot, but in the other examples, he's not looked great. Uruguay, Morocco, not great showings. Against Jamaica, he gets subbed off at halftime, and Weston McKennie is playing right back. So it's really down to Joe Scally has to either kind of nut up or shut up here. He's either taking that right back spot, that backup right back, or he's not going to be trusted at all. Because obviously, mentioning a Tim Weah, a Weston McKennie, he already did replace Joe Scally for a Weston McKennie once. So, Mike, if Joe Scally doesn't work out, you're just talking about how much we need to be talking about him. If he doesn't work out, if he looks terrible in the first Copa America game that he's starting, is it kind of wraps on the trust you have in Joe Scally until he can really do something to prove it?
Yeah. I mean, if he's like shockingly bad, like a real hole in the defense, causing problems, something that the opposition is pointing out as a weak link and really going for it, then sure. Then you're like, okay, we can't trust him. We have to adjust and find someone else to satisfy this hole. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think he's a quality player who just needs to adjust to the pressure of playing international football. It might take time. It might be rough, but I don't think it'll be as glaring as it was in the Nations Cup. That's my hope and my thoughts.
Purely off of vibes, Jesus, my cat's going crazy. Purely off of vibes, I don't think Scally's got the aura. I'm just gonna say it. I don't like the way he
He's missing
looks.
Shaq
other
Moore
word.
aura.
If it was a FIFA card, Nick, how much aura would he have? Give me a number.
It's like 68 aura. It's just not good.
Great. It's not great.
No.
It's got
It's enough to be a
bronze
pro,
aura.
but not enough.
Yeah.
Serginho Dest, I tell you what, that is aura right there. Him and Weah both. That was the fun side of the field for a while. Now we'll have to see what this U.S. team looks like without Serginho Dest, and quite honestly, he was a gigantic creative factor for the team. So I'm a bit worried since they were already struggling to score goals. Is it down to Gio Reyna just create here, Nick Tracy? Is it Gio Reyna's team to kind of take over this summer to create more, so it's not just all on Pulisic down one wing, essentially?
Man, I hope so. It's been a really disappointing year for Gio Reyna, so I think this is a good opportunity for him to get back on his feet and really be a centerpiece of this team. I think he looked great the last couple of times he's played for the United States, and he has hardly seen the field at Nottingham Forest. He'll be going back to Dortmund at the end of this season, most likely to go somewhere else. It seems like Claudio Reyna is kind of at the reins of his career, which is interesting and probably not the best thing. But yeah, hopefully he can be a creative piece in this team, show what he's done before, be a leader, and take some of that weight off Pulisic of being our main attacking guy.
Yeah, let's hope that Gio Reyna can do a little bit better than what he was able to do at Nottingham Forest, get back to his international form from Nations League performances. Let us know what you guys think about the roster here. The
I have a
Shaq
question.
Inclusion, the Timmy Tillman inclusion. What is your question here, Producer P?
Is Ludacris a U.S. men's national team fan?
That looks nothing like Ludacris.
That is a loose
Ludacris.
Some borderline racist shit right there.
Dude, like the picture I got up on my phone right now,
Well,
they could be
we would
brothers.
need to do a side-by-side of Chris Richards' afro versus Ludacris afro because Palmer might be onto something.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Isn't Luda like
it's the farthest off
That
thing,
is
but it's
serious.
also not at all the closest thing.
Got a Luda afro.
Yeah, no, I
There's
feel
Luda afro.
almost.
No.
I feel like it's almost further than what I thought it was before you brought up the side by side. I think this hurt your
Ludacris
case.
play right back. If Ludacris could play right back, sign him the fuck up.
Sign him up. Let us know if
Hot
you
bars.
think that Ludacris looks like Chris Richards. Jury
And
is
should he play right back?
already out on that one, and the jury has said no. But let us
Should
know
he
what
play
you
right back?
think in the
Nowhere near.
comments below. And let's get into our locks of the week, our finale here, and see what we have come down to.
Did I win?
We had Everton 4-0 over Everton. For Nick, got the result right, but good job.
Everton over Everton, beating themselves.
Yeah,
That's been off in
4-0.
this season.
A bit off. Sean Dyche and the boys would never lose 4-0. We only lose 2-1. Brother, what's going on here? All right. So Nick gets 1 point for that. Newcastle beat Brentford. It was not 2-1. What was the score?
3-2,
3-2 or something?
4-2.
I think it's
4-2.
2.
Yeah.
All right. So just a 1 pointer there. And Mike, what I thought was for sure going to be a green bean, a
Looked good for a
0-0
while.
Brighton Man U, was incorrect there. Sad to see as Man U actually picked up a win there. So Nick gets 1 point, I get 1 point, and Mike, unfortunately, as his season goes, is not getting another point on this occasion here.
More points in Sheffield. That's all that matters.
How many points did Sheffield get?
16.
But they had more than
Just
18. 16 points.
I believe
I
so.
thought they had like
That is
20.
Crazy. Yeah,
That is ridiculous.
that's
I'm better than Sheffield.
I don't know if that's a standard you want to strive for, but our final standings here are
stacked.
me on 23 points, Nick on 21, and Mike almost made the comeback. Not really. At 18, he had a stretch, as we can see on the screen, where he got every single
Red.
game and result wrong, except for 1 out of 6 straight games. That is a tough stretch to have there, Mike.
Just like
That's
Everton.
quite bad.
It doesn't get much better when you scroll even further down. You had a tough end of the season here, down the stretch, but you did get that Chelsea Forest game right towards the end, so you have something to
Feels
look
good.
forward to on your relegation way down. Boys, that was our season awards, our U.S. men's national team, England national team breakdown for the rosters. What do you want to leave the people with today, Mike?
Thanks for joining. Great season. Anticlimactic season, unfortunately, but that's how the Premier League goes these days. Up Everton. It's going to be a hell of a next year. We're going to make so many great signings this summer. I can't wait. We don't have very much money, so if you could, contribute to the GoFundMe, please do. Like, subscribe, follow, share. Send us some questions. We'd love to hear what you think.
Send some questions. Send some questions why Nick maybe chose Rodri after he ridiculed his club. But until next time, we'll see you there. Peace.
No outro for Nick.
No,
fuck
you
that
did
guy.
you did all the talk and you did the like, subscribe, blah blah. So I was like, oh.